Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are watching this week's video, hey y'all, what's up? Okay, so of course I'm doing my last little summertime, get all my summertime stuff in. We not quite an Indian summer yet, but y'all, we headed there. For those of y'all who are like, who is this lady talking about Indian summer and showing her shoulders and that green in her hair and the hair jewelry? I am none other than yours truly, Patrice L. Berry, EA. That EA is for Enroll Agent, aka the Tax Cop. Welcome to your mailbox for the week. This is your weekly video. So, as we are winding down August, I got another reflective uh, type message for y'all this week, right? As we are winding down, this is my CEO week, and that is the week where every month we we reassess, we reevaluate what's going on, make sure we get things done, kind of get stuff guided. And I'm so glad CEO week is happening the week that school started. Why? Because it allowed me to plan accordingly, do some of the things I told you last week where I evaluated, reset, implemented stuff, and then figured out how to go back through that cycle again and made sure that first day of school went as smoothly as possible, right? Because things was packed, clothes was ironed, stuff was put together. But this ties into something else that I've been thinking about. So just hang with me with my examples. They're going to go somewhere. Back in the day, I took a course called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it is a book, but I actually took the course too, a Stephen Covey course, right? And I absolutely loved the course. It allowed me to think of certain things in a different way and helped shape. I won't say it helped. It actually did. It helped shape how I led. It fine tuned. I'm gonna say it fine tuned as I moved up in my career how I led. One of my favorite habits is begin with the end in mind. That thing just resonates with me so well. You'll hear me say it. You'll hear me be like, let's reverse engineer this joint. Really, that's all it is begin with the end in mind. And I think it because it speaks to the heartbeat of what I did as an auditor. And I really do kind of reverse engineer almost everything that every aspect of my life. How long does it take me to get dressed? Like, I do stuff in chunks and segments because the goal is I got to be here by this time. And y'all, sometimes I'm not there on time, but I be reverse engineering it, right? As long as I stay on point and don't be distracted by something else and be like, let me come in this office and do something real quick, I'm good. And so I've gotten way better at that, putting boundaries in place and being like, if you touch this computer, if you look at that phone before you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, you're not going to get to where you're supposed to get to in time. In fact, that's why we're doing this now, because I got somewhere to be in a little while, right? Because it's parent pickup. So I'm stressing this because I want to use an example. Actually, I'm going to use two examples because I'm finding myself doing this and having this plan in place even when I'm doing my investing in my trading. I'm a swing trader, meaning you can't catch me no day trade unless I'm doing futures and I can sit my butt down and watch it. Just because of the way it's too quick and too much volatility for me to be doing this. And my coach has worked with me to be like, girl, you analyze a whole lot. So you need to know these different levels. You need to know when to get in. You need to know when you're getting in, where it's going to. You need to have a stop loss set. Yeah, I was terrible at setting stop losses. And making sure that you know that you're going to take profit at this level, and this level. And then if you miss some profit, cool. If it's going the wrong direction, you out that trade. And so therefore that requires me sitting still, knowing what the trading plan is, building the trading plan for me, right? So that I can be in more profitable trades because I'm messing with real money, not just paper money, real monies, personally in my earn and learn account and in my business's brokerage account, right? So I have to be very mindful of that. And because these are in most cases short-term transactions. So therefore we got short-term capital gains. That's real income, okay? Ordinary income. It's just another way to get some money so that I can go and invest for the long term, right? Using a market to build capital. All right. So I'm just saying that is a reverse engineer. Okay. Learn the terms, learn how to read the charts, learn the company that you're investing in, figure out how they move, know the different time frames, see if you can see the patterns, get on the chart, figure out what your different levels are. maybe paper trade it for a while. All these steps, reverse engineering before you jumping in with both feet, right? So that when it's time to go, you can actually execute the plan as seamlessly as possible. I also did this, and this is another example I'm going to give, is when I had to borrow a year ago. I borrowed from one of my life insurance policies. That the intent of the policy is, now mind you, the main reason for me having this policy was to actually use it to be the bank. So I got this, and I got different policies, but this specific policy I'm talking about was to put money in it because I'm going to use it to be a bank. Yes, it has a death benefit and all this kind of stuff, but this particular policy got this purpose for it to be the bank. So I watched it. We making the payments, doing what we got to do, and then I took a loan against it because it is a whole life policy that got cash surrender value. When people are talking, I'm just going to tell you, no, anything I tell you is not for financial advice because I'm not a fiduciary. I'm an accountant. So I'm using these examples to make it practical, to make you think about some stuff and apply it to aspects of your life. So nothing I'm telling you I'm not telling you to go get a whole life policy to do this. I'm not telling you that. If you want to invest, I'll tell you who I'm working with so that you can pay attention to and follow the people that I follow as I'm learning as a student. But other than that, I'm not telling you to do these things. I'm using these as an example because I'm going somewhere. Okay? So I use that policy. I'm using this policy specifically to be that bank, right? And so I borrowed against it. But before I borrowed against it, I needed to make sure I knew how much money I needed when I took that loan against that policy. Then, before I took the money, I went and called the people and asked the questions. How does it work? Can I make the payments myself? How frequently can I make the payments back to you all? Are you just taking out of my monthly premium? What are you doing? I had to learn all the rules, okay? And then, in addition to my monthly premium, what is happening is I reverse engineered that thing to be like, okay, what if you paid it back every 2 weeks? What if you paid it back weekly? How much would you need to do to pay it back in a year? Y'all, in the business world, this is what I'm telling you as an accountant, this is called return on investment. I got the investment. I'm trying to put the investment back. How quickly can I get the money back there? So I can take care of the purpose I needed to take care of and still get the money back because I do not want to trigger a taxable transaction. Yes, taking a loan from the policy is not a taxable transaction. For those of y'all who doing TSP, it's like that. Instead of cashing out in TSP, what we can do is, if you're allowed to, and it meets the requirements, you can take a loan and then you have payroll deductions and you pay it back. Ask me how I know. I've done that in the past as well. Okay? So, no longer doing it because I'm not a Fed, but I'm telling you, right? So, I began with the end in mind. I got all the information. I made sure I understood. I documented the plan, y'all. And every Friday, there is an alert on my calendar that tell me it's your day to pay back this amount so that in 52 weeks, what you borrowed is back where it's supposed to be. And then you can take another loan if you need it. Okay? I began with the end in mind. I reverse engineered my butt into how I could apply it to what works for my life and how it works for me and what I can handle. And then I play with them numbers to make sure that I am getting the return on investment, right? Because I'm borrowing from me and I'm being the bank and making sure that I am not giving up too much interest. That was me. These are the things we have to talk about. These are the things we have to think about. And in every aspect of your life, you should begin with the end in mind, reverse engineer, and figure out how the plan is to get to where it is you want to be. Be it when it comes to fitness, be it when it comes to mapping out things, be it when it plans a trip, because you got a trip you're going to go on and it costs XYZ and you know you want to be there from this time to this time because you don't want to be too hot, but you don't want it to be too cold, and you need to think about the clothes and what size you're going to be and what you're going to eat, how much it's going to cost, when you got to make your deposits, every aspect of your life. And so I want you to take the time now as we are rounding out and going into the end of Q3. September is the end of Q3. Heading into Q4, I want y'all to reverse engineer the rest of the year. If you know that, hey, I don't know what my tax situation is going to be. I know that my books aren't in order, but I want to kind of bounce off somebody to collaborate, not necessarily having to work with us, but can I bounce some ideas off of you? You could always schedule a paid consultation. Yes, I said paid because my time costs, right? And what I'm charging for these consultations are a fraction of what they should be. I know this. But if you need somebody else to kind of help you blueprint that thing out, to reverse engineer it, to map it out because you just not sure, or if you need somebody to look at your plan and just kind of give you that feedback as to where you want to go, or hey, I think it's going to be this and I'm not sure, and I kind of want to get a projection on some stuff, not a full plan, but a projection, we offer those services too. Why? Because now is the time to reverse engineer it. Now is the time to tweak and make changes where you need to make changes. Now is the time to make adjustments. But if you have no idea and you haven't drawn a line in the sand and you haven't done the assessment, then how are you going to know what to tweak? Right? Yes, I'm a proponent of using AI. Go ahead, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, whoever you need to. Even this in the Google, okay? Do whatever you need to help you get these steps in place. But then it was like what I told you last week. You can have that all in place, but if you don't execute, if you don't implement, then when you look back 3 months from now, a week from now, 2 years from now, you're going to be like, oh, I did it. I wrote the plan down, but I never actually implemented and executed. It's important to try it. It's important to practice. As my investing coach says, and even as my nutrition coach, hey, we got to stick to the plan. You need to write it down. You got to commit in some way, shape, or form, and then you got to evaluate where the tweaks are. Because when we actually are reverse engineering, we are planning for everything that we see in an ideal situation, and we also have some contingencies just in case some go left. All right, no offense to the left-handed people, right? Y'all probably like, I'm sick and tired of everybody saying when it go left, that's terrible. I'm left-handed, it ain't that bad, right? I'm right-handed. I got a lefty in the house. So keep these things in mind. Make sure it works out in your favor. Make sure you begin with the end in mind, right? And map that thing out. And if you don't have anybody to bounce it off of, yes, it may cost you time, but I promise I will love on you. I will give you the attention you need. I'll tell you if it sounds kind of crazy. I'll tell you, hey, okay, let's kind of reverse this. Let's adjust this. Had you considered that voice of reason, that wise counsel, I don't mind being it. Yes, there is a fee, but I promise you, I will give you more than enough to be able to put yourself in a situation to consider some things. You walk away with some homework, and sometimes in those situations, I walk away with homework. But the bigger thing is you have now got your blueprint in hand and kind of have a way to be like, yep, I can evaluate this and move forward. So until next week, when we do our monthly newsletter, I want to just thank you all for your time. I want to thank you for allowing me to get these thoughts out of my head and onto the camera so that y'all can absorb it. If there's anything else you got questions about, if there's anything else you're curious about, please, please, please don't hesitate to send us a message. For all of y'all that shouted us out, who saw the brand stuff, the people who send me the emails, the people who send me the messages, mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you for recognizing. Thank you for acknowledging. Thank you for giving us the space to be able to have this opportunity. Thank you for the feedback. And until next week, peace, y'all.